Welcome to Titan Talk. My name is Sarah Kenz, and I am so excited to help kick off this new platform for Titan Machinery. On this podcast, we are going to be exploring Titan Machinery's people, our products and customers, and of course, lots of things in between. On episode 1, you will be hearing from me, Sarah Kenz. I am the talent acquisition manager with Titan Machinery. I have been with Team Titan for 7 years. And in my role, I am able to collaborate with different individuals across our footprint, partners with educational institutions or organizations such as FFA. And overall, I get to see how people impact business success. So I'm really excited for you to get to meet a lot of the people that I get to work with and for you to learn a little more about Titan Machinery and our industry. So on episode 1, we are joined by Brian Knutson, or better known as BJ. So BJ, you joined Titan Machinery in 2002, and you've served in several different positions, from an equipment sales consultant to a general manager, complex manager, and now you serve as our president and chief operating officer here at Titan Machinery. So I'm sure you have had a very busy week. For all of you listening, it's Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. So we are still working hard. And so I'm excited to kind of chat with you and learn more about your experience, your background, maybe a little more about your leadership style and what you bring to the company and your team. So I know you could probably talk for hours about our products and our customer and our teams, but we've got about 30 minutes together. So we are going to ask quite a few questions of you and get some good information. So we are going to start way back when, but not too far back, because you are young and spry. But your first job that you ever had, can you kind of talk to us about your first job?
Yeah. So when I was 12 years old, Sarah, I started a lawn mowing business. And for anybody out there who's seen the movie Can't Buy Me Love, that was me. I wasn't old enough to drive yet, so I had my lawnmower, my riding lawnmower. I had welded up a trailer that I towed behind it that had my push mower and weed whacker, and I had gone around to all the neighbors, soliciting jobs, and ended up ultimately growing that business and paying my way through college, mostly through that business, and then. After college, that's when I started working at Titan, actually. So that's when I dissolved my BJ's Lawn Service.
So you were an entrepreneur and business person early on. It wasn't something new for you.
Yeah, and it did work well, because as I grew older, I had a few different jobs. So grew up on we had a small cattle ranch down by Oaks, North Dakota. And so I worked on the weekends down there, did my lawn service on Thursdays and Fridays. A lot of people wanted their lawn mowed before the weekend, and actually started it usually on Wednesday evenings. And then I worked as a mechanic at a bus company that had school buses and charter buses, and actually city bus contract as well. Doing basically light mechanical work for them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that was doing brake jobs, oil changes, all kinds of other light mechanical work.
Wonderful. I started at Target, so I feel like obviously we had some different getting started stories. Do you remember what you bought with your first paycheck? Or the first, that first time you got paid by someone?
Yeah, I do. I think it was a new Craftsman ratchet set.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, I do, actually. I was working on a snow bike the other night in the garage, and just used it the other day, and I thought of that. Like, I've had this thing for like 30 years.
that is.
So even though Sears isn't around anymore, Craftsman can definitely tout the lifetime warranty.
They made it through the BJ Knutson test there. So let's jump ahead. You actually mentioned college, and we are both Cobbers. We both went to Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. So go Cobbers. And you were playing hockey and studying what? What else kind of brought you to Concordia?
Oh, so well, mainly just hockey. So I was all scheduled to go to the Air Force Academy. I actually had my class schedule bags all packed, and I was working a hockey camp all that summer as well. I guess that was another job I had, coaching hockey camp with the Concordia hockey coach, and great guy. And he actually talked me into last minute changing my mind and staying local here. And great experience. He was a tremendous coach to play for. I'm really glad that I did that. Of course, met many lifelong friends there.
And what were you, besides hockey, what major, what was your focus in terms of your academics when you were focusing on academics?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because I don't know if this is the best commercial for a 4-year college, because I've never really used my degree per se, because I had a biology major and chemistry minor, and also took a lot of physics as well, because I was a pre-med major. So, and then obviously coming to work for Titan, I've not used that at all.
You might use it more than you think. We should talk sometime. I'll do my little academic counseling with you. So you said, okay, so you were pre-med. What were you hoping to go do in medicine? Was there a certain field you were interested in?
Yeah, I initially wanted to be a pediatrician, and then after graduating college and just being around the ranch all the time, decided I wanted to shift gears to large animal vet. And in the meantime is when I met Dave Meyer one day at the parts counter. So we ran a lot of really old equipment on our farm that was really high houred and really rough condition when we bought it, and broke down a lot. And so I was in at the parts counter almost every day, sometimes twice a day. And that's when I met Dave, and ultimately ended up working at Titan, and never did go back to vet school.
So your hockey coach helped you stay in Moorhead, and then Dave caught you and kept you here at Titan Machinery. So some pretty significant individuals that maybe kind of impacted your pathway of where you were headed and where you ended up.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, and it's kind of interesting, Sarah, looking back, because being around that Oaks area, Meyer Equipment at the time had a lot of commercials on the radio, and also there's a lot of red equipment around there. And so I grew up looking at all that shiny red equipment, thinking how cool it would be to work for one of those dealerships and to be able to sell that. But I was under the impression that like somebody had to die to get one of those jobs, or you had to be like your dad and your granddad had to have those jobs in order to do that. So I didn't think it was an option for me. And then, and also ironically, like a lot of my life people had told me to go into sales, or that I should go into sales, when David and ultimately his partner as well, Peter Christensen, the co-founders at Titan, talked to me about coming to work at Titan and going into sales. I was nervous about, selling stuff to people and being on commission and so on. And so I actually took a job that I thought would be maybe temporary at NDSU as a geneticist. And then a few days later, Peter and Dave talked me into coming to work at Titan. So I had to go resign from that job.
Now you're the person that gets to talk people into coming and working at Titan and changing their pathway. And now you're the person, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, as I look back on my life, besides things with family and friends, of course, but professionally, that was probably the biggest and best decision I ever did there. I didn't realize just at the time what it was, but to be able to, now I have an appreciation for this industry, and to really combine three things that I love: getting to work with people, the variety that comes with the work every day, but also then getting to be involved in agriculture and construction, and really be a part of something special and something important, that building and feeding the world. And then third, getting to be around heavy equipment, so I used to love that show Home Improvement with Tim the Toolman Taylor, and giving everything more horsepower and everything. And it's so, feel pretty honored, pretty lucky, and fortunate to be able to do that every day, to work around people and work in the rewarding industry that we do, and work with the equipment that we do.
Awesome. Um, so I guess maybe a good question for you. So you've made your way to now the president and the COO. What has been maybe the biggest challenge that you've encountered throughout your time with Titan, or something that really kind of pushed you?
When you look at agriculture in general, it's a challenging business, because you've got the variability that comes with global commodity prices, and then you insert weather and different weather patterns in there, as well as machinery that is made, by human beings and designed by human beings, and that invariably does break down. And so very narrow planting windows and very narrow harvest windows, and a lot at stake, really big dollars at stake, people's livelihoods at stake, families and generational farms, and so on. And just, again, the enormity of the dollars in play if you miss a planting window or miss a harvesting window. So that is a big challenge every day, to tackle that, and to see how we can, continually strive for improvement on that, and to help our customers there. But at the same time, it's also the most rewarding part of the job as well. And construction is very similar. So a lot at stake, big projects, deadlines, whether it's a residential customer or a government project or whatever, with deadlines and so on. And again, just a lot at stake, and time is money in those cases as well. Downtime is very costly for our customers, and so we take that really personally, and so taking it that personally, it is a challenge, and yet again, it is the most rewarding part as well. I love it when I see all the time, just when our technicians are leaving a customer's job site or a customer's field, and the customer went from, frankly, completely up a creek without a paddle, to all of a sudden they're cooking with gas again as soon as our technician gets them up and running. So it's quite an emotional roller coaster that the customer goes through during that time period, and rightfully so. And same with our parts counter. Our parts people do such tremendous things going in the evenings or on the weekends during the busy season. And our parts managers do such a great job at trying to forecast what parts we're going to need to have on the shelf. It changes every year, so it's not an easy job. It changes depending on the weather, and you've got all kinds of new models coming into play as well. And so having that part for the customer, and then being able to get out and get back up and running again, knowing how much is at stake.
So I think a good kind of segue here would be actually how you answered that. So we asked you, or I asked you, about your own kind of journey and challenges, and yet it kind of always goes back to the team. and appreciating what other people are kind of doing. So segueing a bit into, maybe more of your leadership style and how we are structured here at Titan Machinery, that I think is probably mirrored quite a bit in how you answered that. So I know for myself, and I've heard it quite a few times from other people, is maybe just how approachable and available leaders are. So, for example, right, we were able to say, "Hey, BJ, we want to try doing this podcast. Will you just hop on and let us chat with you?" And you were like, "Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like something I can do." And I don't think that's true at every company, and how we all know each other by name, and titles don't mean as much as actually, what you bring to your role, and how you serve our customers and those types of things. So you're the president of the largest Case IH dealer in the world. We've got over 2,000 employees. We're in 9 states now in the US. We have stores abroad. So how do you, and maybe you can kind of speak to some other of our leadership team, but how do you still approach leadership to feel like you're just a part of the team, even though obviously you have a really significant and important role with the company? How do you do that?
Yeah, I think, Sarah, it really starts with, again, back all the way to the founders of our company that I mentioned earlier, Peter Christensen and David Meyer. And just, you know them both well. And to your point, we all know each other by day. We all know each other on a personal level. In fact, as a sidebar, I know you get this a lot too. My favorite compliment by far from employees is that they tell me all the time they love working at Titan because it's this huge company that has this really strong family feel. Mm-hmm. And I think, that's just something Dave and Peter started years ago, and they're both very humble people. And so I think that's really carried through, and over the years, or even decades now since then, we've made a very concerted effort to just hire good people, just quality, honest, ethical, nice, hardworking people, and that may not have Harvard MBAs or whatever, but or may not be a certain height or be able to bench press so many pounds or whatever, but it's more about the quality of the people, and I think we've really seen things that I didn't even anticipate from that. I think it's led to a really good culture and really collaborative culture, and one of the other things with Peter and Dave and our leadership team, and that I pride myself on is there's don't ask somebody to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. I think I can relate to a lot of the employees because I started at the parts counter before going into sales and was a mechanic for many years of my life, and so we really another thing we pride ourselves on is our entire leadership team has been out there at the stores, has worked our parts counters, knows what it means to our customers to not have the part, knows what it means to our customers if we don't get out there quick enough response time and fix it right and before them, and so on. And then I think just being solutions oriented for our customers and our employees, and then finally, I always try to put myself in the other person's shoes, and I know our other leaders do too, and so, and I'll go back one more time too to the humble point that I brought up is that as leaders, just acknowledging and recognizing that we don't have all the answers. So I know you see us, Sarah, reaching out a lot to our employees for, we have our ideas inbox, we have our suggestion box, we have our employee surveys. We're constantly asking them at meetings and one-on-ones, and I have a lot of one-on-one phone calls as our other leaders do, and just seeking ways to how can we continue to be a better employer every day, and then really taking it serious to implement that feedback, and as well as how can we better serve our customers every day. I mean, we've had just tons of evolution over the 20 plus years I've been here, and collectively all of those best ideas have come from our team and our people, our employees, and so we just really want to continue to do that, and just seeking continuous improvement, right? I think that's another thing that comes with Humble, that knowing we don't have all the answers, knowing we're not where we want to be yet, knowing we can always get better, right? In whatever it is in life, or certainly as a workplace.
Well, I mean, BJ, obviously you hire the best. I mean, I'm right here. But no, I think a lot of that is, seen out with our teams. And in my position, I get to spend so much time with our team members too. And I just think that's something that definitely is appreciated. And sometimes now it's just such a part of our culture that we might even just kind of forget that the fact that, David will be walking down the hall and he's like, oh, hey, Sarah, how's this going on? And he knows people. And I think that speaks volumes for how we kind of look at our company and our people. So, but what are those things that maybe kind of ground you a little bit, especially outside of work?
Yeah, certainly my family has been that for sure, and especially since having my kids, they're the most important thing to me in the world, and just love them so much. And so I've changed my habits a little bit since then, to the extent of, again, as an example, I used to work most Saturdays and Sundays, and so now I'll do some catch up in the morning, and at night after they go to bed. But then, on the weekends, I try to dedicate myself to them, and likewise when I'm not traveling on an airplane or out on the road, I've adjusted my schedule a bit to try to be home, for at least a little while before they go to bed, to get to see them every night. And then I also do try to schedule my day in the morning so that I can make them breakfast, and be with them a little bit before they need to get off to school.
All right. What are you making them for breakfast, BJ? What's your go-to? What are you making them?
Oh, Sarah, I'm an awesome cook. So I can make scrambled eggs.
Ooh.
And I can make instant oatmeal. Or I can make instant Eggo waffles. And then fruit.
Breakfast of champions.
I can peel an orange. I can pick grapes. All that.
What do you guys do on the weekends?
That's about the extent of it.
That's the extent. What are on the weekends? You said you hang out with them. What are some activities? I know you guys are pretty active. Your family's pretty active.
Oh, and I can cook bacon too.
Oh, yes. Delicious. Good choice.
We like a lot of activities, but don't get to do enough of any of the activities. But definitely like snow skiing and snowmobiling and snowboarding, and ice skating and hockey, and pretty much any of those outdoor winter sports. And then in the summer, wakeboarding and water skiing, and boating and jet skiing, and wake surfing, and playing out in the yard with them, and baseball and soccer. And
are they going to be a better hockey player than you, or do you still own that?
Nope. They won't. They would have to play hockey in order to.
Fair enough. All right, we are here and we are going to do the Fast 15 with BJ Knutson. Are you ready, BJ?
I think so.
All right, I have 15 questions to get to know you better. We want you to answer the first thing that comes to your mind. All right, first question. What's your favorite piece of equipment?
Quad track.
Hot or cold climate?
Cold.
Favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
What flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
What dish do you cook best?
Easy Mac.
What object do you misplace or lose the most?
Sticky notes.
Soda or coffee?
Mountain Dew.
Favorite TV show? Ever?
MacGyver.
Favorite color?
Red.
Good answer.
Or blue.
Good answer. Favorite animal?
Power tan.
Or power to think. Yeah, your construction teams are really excited about that addition. Favorite animal?
Cows.
I wish I was better at
Height. Reaching things up tall shelves.
For those that have not met BJ Knutson, you are a tall what?
I used to be almost 5'10".
Sure, we'll stick with that.
I'm shrinking, I think.
When do you wake up in the morning?
Varied. Depends on the day and the trip. Between 5 and 8.
Okay, what are morning or evening person?
Evening.
Okay. Favorite type of music?
Country.
What are you most scared of?
Snakes.
What you can eat one food for the rest of your life. What is it?
Bacon.
What is one item you would have with you on a deserted island?
Swiss Army knife.
You did it.
Hatchet.
And you could MacGyver out of that. Because you watched so much of it, right? All right, BJ, you did it. You're fast 15. You survived. I appreciate you taking the time to share a little more about your career growth, your experience with Titan, your leadership style, your family, and I'm excited, hopefully, for others to hear more about you and get to know you a little bit better. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for tuning in to Titan Talk. Stay tuned for more episodes.